Now, can you hear me now? Okay, sorry y'all, I started and was so excited and then Larry informed me y'all could not hear me. So we'll try this again. Good afternoon. We are so excited y'all are here. I am Megan Spigner, and with me today I have Michael Foss, Larry Wadsworth, Kristen Honecker, and Lynn Hawkins. We are your CIS team. A lot of y'all know us. Y'all, we are here today to talk to you about some new things you're getting this year, new technology. But before we get into all of that, I kind of want to talk to you about the training setup. So you should either be at your teacher workstation or in a small group. Why? Because today we are going to give you an opportunity to try what we are actually teaching you. So we're going to teach you for a few minutes, and then you're going to get a break and your turn kind of time to try some of that out. And we'll keep going back and forth, and you'll hear from everyone today. Now, we might move a little fast because we have so much to cover. At any time, should you need to pause this video, y'all, we are live. However, we've got the DVR feature turned on, so you can pause it and catch up and, try whatever you're working on, and then keep playing the video. It is going to be recorded. We will share that at the end of today on our CIS site. I will show y'all where at the end of this training. And there may be a slight delay with YouTube when we're streaming. There's always some sort of delay. And please use the chat for any questions you may have. If we miss a question and we don't get to it, we will do our best, but email us at cis@htbe.net if we don't get to it. We had a ton of people earlier on in trainings this week, so y'all be patient with us. Now, let's talk about some of the terms that y'all are going to need to know. So the first term is IFP. That's your interactive flat panel. That's the board that is replacing your smart board. Some of you have your boards already. Others may not. Be patient. They are coming. They are so awesome. Y'all are going to love them when you actually get them. But that doesn't mean you can't use what comes with it. So the IFPs also have a software called Whiteboard, and y'all, I'm actually circling that this is what should be on your desktop. You should have a shortcut on your desktop that looks just like this Whiteboard. That is what we're going to be focusing on today, but in order to get the full effect of it and the full features of the Whiteboard, there's a couple things we need to take care of. Now, the company that creates all of this is called ViewSonic, so you may hear us refer to it as ViewSonic Training or ViewSonic Things. But we're actually going to go to, I'm going to make sure y'all are connected with your Google Drive and your OneDrive. That's something y'all should have done prior to this training, but we're going to make sure, all right? So I am going to click out of this Google slide, and remember y'all watch me first, and then I will give you a few minutes to try this out in just a second. I'm going to go to myviewboard.com, which is your online account. So I'm only going to focus on the online stuff right now. How do we sign in? There's a sign in button up at the top. You click on that, and you're going to sign in with Microsoft. All right? Always sign in with Microsoft when it comes to myViewBoard or the Whiteboard software. There's even a cool little app that I'm going to have y'all download, and Lynn's going to talk to y'all about why that's important in just a few minutes. Now, if it's your first time logging into your myViewBoard account, you may get a demographic little pop-up, answer those questions to the best of your ability. Others of you may be getting this download Whiteboard for free. Yes, you can download the software and build some things at home if you work better at home, so just know that option's there. I'm going to click OK, and let's make sure that your online account is talking to the software correctly, all right? It's kind of cool how it does this. So in the upper right-hand corner, you've got Follow Me settings. That means these things follow you everywhere you go. So I could go to the Media Center and log into a panel, and all of my stuff would be there. I could go into my next door neighbor, her classroom, and it would all be there. So you can play around with some of these settings, but let's focus on the cloud integration right now. I'm going to click on that on the left-hand side, and y'all can see Mike, this is actually his account right now. I'm on his computer. So his Google Drive is connected. So if he were to sign into that software, that icon I was showing y'all just a second ago, his Google Drive would be there, and all of his files from his Google Drive would be there. Now his OneDrive is not connected, so y'all be sure yours need to say unbind in order for it to pull in all of your files. So for instance, with his, I would click bind and follow the prompts. Now, at some point, if you log into your myViewBoard account, it may ask you to look at your single sign-on. You sign in there too, all right? So that's the first thing. When I give y'all a second to do this, I want y'all to make sure that you are connecting your drives. And then the second thing I want you to do is to download the companion app. Y'all, if you're an iPhone user, we have the QR code to take you directly to get that app. And then here's your Google Play Store QR code. And the companion app is gonna, well, I don't want to steal Lynn's thunder. She's gonna tell you about the companion app. Y'all just be sure y'all take care of that, all right? So I'm gonna give y'all 5 minutes to go to myViewBoard and click sign in, and I want you to make sure you sign in with your Microsoft credentials, okay, your Microsoft account. And then you're going to click on the AI icon and make sure your cloud integration is connected. So make sure you click bind next to the Google Drive and your OneDrive, all right? And then if you do get a chance to download that companion app, again, log in with Microsoft, all right? 5 minutes and Lynn will come back on.
Good afternoon, this is Lynn Hawkins. I am going to talk to you more about this whiteboard software. So let me get out of this PowerPoint over here. Okay, I'm looking at my desktop and I'm looking for the icon that says Whiteboard, because that's the software that works in conjunction with your board. Double click, and by the way, if you don't have this, I saw somebody in the chat say they didn't have it, you'll need to put in a work order if you don't see it, like in my files over there too. All right, so here we go. Opening it up, and when it opens, it looks like a big giant whiteboard. I want to actually log in to this board. The reason I want to do that is because Megan had you bind the drives. I was very careful, Megan. She had you bind the drives. That way, when you log in, no matter, you could be in your neighbor's classroom, but if you log into the whiteboard, you can actually bring all of your stuff with you. So let's log in. Well, I don't see anywhere to log in. I don't know about you. If you look at the bottom right-hand corner, there's like a little avatar that says host information. I'm going to click on that guy. I may have to click a couple times there. And when it opens up, it says sign in. All right, you have two choices. One, you can sign in with Office, Microsoft Office right there. And if I click on that, it's actually going to take me through single sign-in. I don't really want to do that, so I'm going to close that out. I really want to sign in with the QR code because if you got that companion app, that's like the Mac Daddy of why to get the companion app, in my opinion. That's because it logs you in so quick. It does some other features too, but I want to show you what that companion app, and by the way, you're going to get a document camera. This is what your document camera, the view that you'll have on your document camera, not of my phone, of whatever you put under there, but anyway, I want to show you the companion app, and that's the companion app right there. And if I open it up, I have four choices. The one at the bottom down here is the QR code, and that QR code, I'm going to click on it. And it's going to come up with, okay, what do you want to scan? So Megan's going to be my lovely assistant. She's like Vanna here. And we're going to come over here and we're going to actually click on the computer so you can see. Can you see here? It goes boom. I don't know if it did it. Did it? Yeah. Boy, we're fast.
Make sure not to do the email sign-in box.
What?
The email, don't type in your email.
Yeah. Your choices again. I'm going to go back out so you can see this. Megan was emphasizing this to me. Your choice again. Don't sign in to the email and password. You either do the one that's got the 4 boxes for Microsoft, or going back, you do the QR code. And the QR code again, you're using your app. And we had so many people in the other classes actually scan that. So I'm surprised. I think y'all are the only group that hadn't scanned it. So yay for the Friday afternoon folks. Woo! All right, how do I know that I have logged into the ViewBoard software? If you look at the top left corner, you see my name's right there, and I also have a picture. If I look at the bottom where I was trying to get the login screen to come up, it actually has my picture. So I know this is actually my ViewBoard software. I want to kind of walk you through the lay of the land here. Across the bottom is the main toolbar, and I'll talk to you more about that. Some of the tools that are on there, but I don't know if you see the one that's got like crosshair. If you click and hold, you can see that dotted lines come up on the right, the left, and at the bottom. That's showing you that you can actually move that toolbar to one of those 3 locations. I like it at the bottom, so I'm just going to leave it right there. All right, so that's the main toolbar. The other toolbar also has crosshair. I'm going to click on that one, and when I do, I can move this sucker anywhere I want. This is called the floating toolbar because it literally will go, it'll float wherever you want it. I just kind of like mine down towards the bottom. You choose wherever you want it. Okay, So we got main toolbar, floating toolbar. Over here in the bottom left-hand corner, we have 2 buttons. The first one, oh, and by the way, I don't know if you see this or not, but every time I hover over something, it actually tells me what it is. So if you forget, just hover for just a second and it's going to tell you. This is participation mode. Megan's going to cover that later. I'm going to click on the other one, which is background management. Now, before I get into this, I'm going to pause for just a minute because we had the very first group that we had, they decided that they were going to try to either work with me or work ahead. And I want to tell you, just like I would tell my students, hands off for just now. Just watch me. I promise we're going to give you some time. Like Megan said, we will give you time. And Kristen, I saw her put it in the chat. We're going to give you time. I'll give you about 5 minutes to mess around with the stuff that I'm going to go over with you. But I need you right now. Just watch me if you will. And kind of that way you can keep up. All right, so I'm talking about the other button, which is background. You don't have to have the white background right there if you don't want it. Click that button and you get different choices down here. And the first one is if I had actually uploaded some backgrounds to the myViewBoard in myviewboard.com. The second one is a palette of colors, and you can change your colors. The next one is and like I said, if you hover, it'll tell you pre-installed backgrounds. Next one in is, let's see, myViewBoard Originals. This one I like because it kind of breaks it down by categories. So I'm a math person. I'm going to do a little bit of math here. And I like those shapes. So I'm going to click on that. And when I click on that new background, it's going to say, well, what do you want to do? Do you want it to all pages or do you want it to just this page? Well, I'm just going to put it on this page and I'll show you why in just a minute. All right, I'm going to close out. On my floating toolbar, I have a little piece of paper, it's a blue piece of paper right there that says 1 on it. If I click on that, it's actually the page sorter, kind of like with PowerPoint, how it's running down the side, but I think you can put it different places too. You can do the same thing with this one if you want. But we need to add some pages in order for us to be able to move this thing. All right, so you can add pages on the page sorter, so I'm going to add a couple pages. You can take away pages on the page sorter. I don't know if you see, it has a red X right there on that actual page. So I can X that out and it says, do you really want to get rid of this? Yes, I do. You can, if I close this out, you can add pages from the actual floating toolbar. So I can add another page right there. Notice that the page sorter, the number is showing up that it's 3. And up here, if I cruise to the top right, I've got a fraction, 3 over 3. Oh no, not fractions. Everybody's worst nightmare, we're going to do math. No, no, no. 3 of 3 means it's the third page of 3 pages. If you go back to those arrows on the floating toolbar, you can go back and forth between your pages. Uh-oh, don't know if you saw that. It changed, now it's 2 of 3. If I click one more, it's 3 of 3, or one of 3. I went back to the first page, sorry. I will tell you that, remember I just put that background on the very first page. If I had said that I wanted it on every page, every time I added a page, this background would have been on there. I just wanted it on this particular page. I didn't want it on everything. All right, so I hope I didn't go too fast there for you. I hope you're keeping up. We got the main toolbar, floating toolbar, how to change out a background, how to add some pages, take away some pages, looking at the page sorter. And now I'm going to cruise up. We've already talked about the top left. I'm going to look at the top right corner. And I've already talked to you about the 1 of 3. There's the date, there's the time. But right above that, it looks like a Rubik's Cube. It will show you what drives have been bound, or like Megan likes to say, binded. So we have, I should say, Google. I have Google bounded. Just teasing Megan. I have OneDrive bound. It's hard for me to even say it incorrectly. So anyway, I have both of those bound. if I cruise over a little bit more to the cog, and I'm going to click on it, I get some extra information. That app that Megan was, the QR code, if you click on app, the one like, 3N, 4N, if you click there, you can actually get the QR code and you can put it on another phone if you want to. I have it on my personal phone and I have it on my business phone. So, but you can use it on. We're wondering, the guy, I don't know if he ever posted, did it work on the iPad?
She didn't say.
Oh, okay. Well, I was just wondering if it would. It seems like it would, but we don't know. We don't have iPads, so we're not that lucky. All right, the next one over is a question mark. Question mark is if you've got questions, here's where you go. And I want to tell you what, this wiki right here is fantastic. It has like pre-made lessons, and it also has all kind of information about, detailed information about this software. And Megan will tell you more about the wiki later. And the I is for information. You want to know if your board is up to date. You can click update my board. It's a link right there. And when you click on it, it's going to say, oh, your board's up to date. And you say, all right. If it wasn't up to date, it might tell you, click here to update your board. But most of the time it's going to do that even before you get into the software. It'll ask you to go ahead and just update it. All right, so that's the layout of the actual software. That's where everything is located, main toolbar, floating toolbar, and logging in and your backgrounds and all that kind of good stuff. Now, all right, that's good, Lynn, but what I do with this? Well, I want to bring in documents. I don't know about you. I might want to bring in, I'm going to bring in a Word document. Kristen's going to bring in a PDF. Mike's going to bring in a PowerPoint and some videos. So let's start there. I want to bring in a document. So I'm going to minimize this software for just a second. And on my desktop, I actually put a Word document. No, your stuff does not always have to be on your desktop. You can actually go into one of your drives and right click. I'm a right clicker, by the way, and I'm going to right click it and I'm going to copy it. There's other ways to bring stuff in. You don't have to do it this way every time. And I am going to come to the desktop or the software, and I want to right click in here to, I can't, it won't let me. Oh man. Okay. It won't let you. You're going to have to either use the paste button that is, or the clipboard that is on the floating toolbar, or if you see right down below it, it says Control V. You can use some shortcuts on your keyboard. So I'm going to click on the actual clipboard, and I don't know if you see this up here in the top, it was spinning. It was like it was thinking, and it actually put the document, the Word document in here, copied and pasted it in here. If I want to see it, like where exactly did it paste it, I'm going to click on my page sorter, and it put it on page 2, and it was a little too long, so it also continued on page 3. If I cruise down, maybe I want to get rid of page 4, and just hit that little X button, and it'll get rid of that. And now I have a nice clean presentation. I like that much more better. All right, so I've got a Word document in here. This is not Word. You can't go in here and edit the actual document. This is something that's actually being presented on your board. So what you want to do is use some of the tools to write on top of this. Like you might want the kids to come up here and actually do something with it. Well, to write, you're going to need to know where all the pens are. Well, the main toolbar, about 5 in from the right, is a pen tool, and it almost looks like a bottle of ink. Click on it, and when you click one time, it shows 3 popular colors. It shows black, red, and blue. If you click again, it'll actually give you a huge number of choices. You can change the colors, you can add colors, you can make it the thickness more, you can actually change the opacity. And there's probably still more than that you can do. I will say that marker is what the first one's called. The next one looks like a paintbrush. And then we've got a highlighter. And highlighter choices are a little bit limited as to the colors, I guess, because there's only so light you can go with some of this stuff. But Anyway, and the highlighter tool, I'm going to use that right now because I'm going to say, hey, maybe I want to go up here, or I want the kids to come up, and I want them to maybe highlight some verbs for me. And so the first one is going to come up and say, we're going to rate, and I'm sorry if I missed some, have, are, add, rate, and there you go. And then the next kid comes up and maybe they use the blue highlighter, and they go over here and they say take, summarize, provide. All of these look like they're pretty much verbs, but so you can use the highlight tool. Another tool is the laser pen. The laser pen is actually supposed to draw attention to whatever it is you're talking about. So I'm going to use the laser pen to show you. It looks like it's going to be like the actual highlighter tool. And I'm going to, if you're at the front of the board and you're talking, you're like, make sure you do this part right here. Am attentive, am relaxed. Make sure that you ask questions. Make sure you avoid barriers. I don't know if you see what's happening. Every time I draw attention, the one before it disappears. It's almost like disappearing ink. Focus on this. Ignore this. Judge. So the laser pointer actually draws your attention towards what specifically where I am and what I'm talking about. All right, then we've got another tool, another pen tool. It's called the AI pen tool. The AI pen tool is where you draw something and it tries to figure out, and this one can be a lot of fun. So far, whenever I've drawn something, it says it looks like a pile of poo. So we'll see if that continues to hold true. Larry called it soft serve. I hadn't seen it yet though, Kristen. That's a good thing, huh? So Kristen's real thrilled. She says this Friday. Oh, it did show up. I got the soft serve. And if you double click on it, you can see it puts it right out there for you. All I need is just an ice cream cone now or a toilet. I don't know which one. So the AI tool tries to figure out, now why in the world my scary looking creature over here turned out to look like a turd. I don't really know, but whatever, it's Friday. All right, back to my pen tools. So I've got, let's see, I did marker, I did paintbrush, highlighter, laser, AI. The next one is called the shape tool. With the shape tool, you can actually load up different, to me this is more like the stamp tool, but whatever. You load up different images. The ones that are preloaded, bird, sun, look like rain, trees, I actually put like a thumbs up in here, so like this person is attentive, yeah. They ask questions, yeah, they do this. But you can also say thumbs down. Maybe they didn't do so well on that part, so thumbs down, thumbs down. But you can also put your kids' pictures on here, and I put my picture on here. I'm not going to put my picture on the poo. Sorry, just not happening today. All right, so I put my picture across the top, and you can do, like I said, you can load up whatever images you want. They will be small. And yes, and I'm clicking one time, but you can actually write with it. Like, I mean, that looks absurd, but that's actually my name with my face, so that looks cray-cray. All right, then the last tool is the magic pen tool, magic line. And this one is just, looks like a pattern of some sort. And I don't know what's so magical about it, but there it is. And I hope you liked it. And you can choose that one. I'm going to go back and, by the way, it remembers, I don't know if you've noticed this or not, it remembers the last tool that I used, or the last actual pen I pulled up. So the original pen has disappeared, but I can bring it back, just click on it and it's back over there. Okay, now I made a little mess. I want to clean it up. How do I clean this up? Well, you've got some keys down here on the bottom, or some, I'm sorry, Mike is just making noises, so it's like it's almost distracting me, I'm sorry. you got some buttons down here at the bottom that are like, they're like undo and redo. And so you want to undo this, you can hit undo. You can undo until the cows come home, you know, to get rid of each one of these. But if you want to, you can cruise over, and about 5 in is the eraser tool. And the eraser tool, it looks like you have 3 choices, but there's actually a hidden one. I'll show you where it is in just a minute. All right, so you click on the eraser, and the first eraser is, it's almost like a one at a time. You just erase a little bit here, a little bit there. But the next one in, the one that's like a cloud, it's actually like the smart one where you like circle it up, and it'll get rid of the whole thing at one time. And I told you there's a hidden one. If you click on the trash can itself, it will get rid of everything. I don't want that. I bring that back, okay? But there's one other one. If you'll click one more time on the eraser, I like to refer to this one as Oscar. And it's like a trash can. Looks like Oscar the Grouch is coming out of the trash can. And with this one, if I'm hovering over it, it says it's going to clear all the strokes. Why is this good? Because I want to use this document over and over for all my different classes. And in order to do that, I need to maybe clear all of the stuff that I wrote on here. So I'm going to click on that, and it's going to say, hey, do you want to clear all the strokes? And I'm going to say yes. It says all the pages or just this one. I only put strokes on this page, so boom. And it cleaned that right up. So second period's over. Now I'm ready for third period to come in, and we can do that same activity again. So that's really nice. I know I mentioned this, but I want to say it again. This is an object. In order to actually click on this object, you have to, and you'll have to continue to go back and forth. There's something called the selection tool. So I'm going to click on the select tool down here. It's the one next to the ink. And when I click on it, I've got this dotted line that comes up around the actual object itself. And I don't know if you see this up here in the top. It has a lock. So I'm going to click the lock. And if I click one more time there, I get another, oh my gosh, more tools. So you got the main toolbar, the floating toolbar, and you have this one called the adorning menu or adorning tools. Kristen's going to talk to you about those. I'm going to lock this back down. But by the way, when it's unlocked, you can move this wherever you want. That's the reason that you would lock something down. So I'll click there again. I think I locked it. Well, anyway, moving on. I think I've done everything on the floating toolbar except one little thing right here. And the one that's missing is, looks like an old-timey chalkboard. And that old-timey chalkboard is actually presenter mode. If you click on that, it puts your software, puts your ViewSonic, your whiteboard I should say, as you're presenting. So you can go back and forth with those buttons. You can go forward, you can go backwards. Notice that the top and the bottom menus went out and made like full screen. And I tell you another thing it does is it limits your tools. So when you click on this object now, and I try to click to get to those adorning tools, you can't get to it. So we've had several people ask us, what happened to all my tools whenever I click on it? It's probably because you're in presenter mode. So click on that button right there to get out of it. You click on it to get into it, and then you click on it, it changes, and then you click on it to get out. So, and the mode that we use most of the time is the prepare mode. So you can keep it in prepare mode all the time if you want to. You don't ever have to use the present mode. That's totally up to you. Okay. I think I've done everything except one last thing, and that is I need to save this. So I need to talk to you about saving, and then I'm going to peace out. This file folder right here that's on the bottom on the main menu, let's see, about 4 or 5 in here. File folder means it's going to have my files, or it's where I want to save my files. So I click on that. And the first one says I want to do a new presentation. Maybe I want to open one of these whiteboard presentations. I can save it, or I can save as. I'm going to do a save as. And when I click the one with the old-timey floppy disk there and the pencil, it gives me 3 choices. Do you want to save to your local drive, which is your teacher computer, or do you want to save, my drives, my Google Drive, or do you want to save to your OneDrive? Because hopefully you bound these, or as Megan says, bind it. If you bounded these, it's so hard. not to tease her, but anyway, if you bound these, then you can actually choose which one of these you want to save to. So I'm going to click the Google one, and when it comes up, taking it a second, notice that I have choices. People they share stuff with you, and so make sure that when you're choosing that you choose the one that is actually where you want to save it. Like if you want to save it to something that's shared with you, that's fine. I'm going to save it on my particular Google Drive, and I'm going to cruise to the bottom, and I've already saved several of these, so I'm going to save this one and just rename it Delete 9, and I'm going to click the check, and it's going to save it, and boom shakalaka. When I go to the top, I know it has saved it because I see the Google Drive, and it has the name of the document that what I called it just a minute ago. So that's pretty cool. It has the location and the name right there. All right, I have covered a lot of stuff. I know I did, but it's all stuff that hopefully you'll be able to use. And so I'm going to give you a little bit of time here to, if I can find it. I don't see it. Maybe it got gone. I'm going back and opening it back up. There it is. I want to give you some time to actually work, and what I want you to do, I'll give about 5 minutes, is I want you to make sure that you have used the companion app, logged in, if you put it on your device. Make you a new page, write on the page, change out the pen, maybe add a different background, and use the eraser tool. And last but not least, save it. Try saving it to your Google Drive. And like I said, we'll give about 5 minutes, and then Kristen will be back on to talk to you about some other great tools.
Hey guys, good afternoon. This is Kristen, and if you have been practicing either up at your panel or if you've been practicing at your teacher workstation, if you'll just come back over to the live stream now. I know you took about 5 minutes to explore some of those things that Lynn was sharing with you, but I'm going to show you a few other things. I'm going to spend about 10 to 15 minutes talking and then give you another 5 minutes to explore. So again, hop back over to the live stream. I'm going to log out of the Whiteboard software that Lynn was using, and even though you can't see me, I'm just going to let you know that I do have the companion app on my phone, so I'm going to use that and scan the QR code so that I can quickly log in. I can see that I'm logged in the top left-hand corner because I see my name and I've added a picture, so I can tell that I'm logged in, and that means that because I've taken the time to bind my Google and OneDrive, I have access to all those things, and I have access to all the features within Whiteboard software. So that's why it's important to log in, whether you use the companion app or if you just choose the option to log in with Microsoft. All right, so let's take a look at a PDF file. I know that Lynn showed you how to bring in a Microsoft Word file by copying and pasting, but I know a lot of you have PDFs that you work with as well. So what I've done is I've just kind of moved my Whiteboard software a little bit to the side so I can see my desktop. And I'm going to show you how quickly and easily we can bring in a PDF to use within the software. Here's my file on the desktop on the far right hand side. And I'm just going to click with my mouse and hold down that left mouse button and drag it to the white space and then drop it. You can see that it's pulling that information in. So that drag and drop method works great, not only with the PDFs, you can still do that with a Word file, and you can also do it with a PowerPoint file. I know Lynn showed you this floating toolbar on the left. I'm going to take a look at that page sorter. When I brought in the file, occasionally you'll get like a little blank extra page, okay, because it thinks maybe you were already doing something on that page. So I'm just going to delete that page and get just down to my PDF file. I'm going to navigate using the arrow buttons. Just kind of check and make sure it brought everything in. All right, so that's on my floating toolbar. I can quickly move back and forth. And I want to introduce you to a tool in the middle of your main toolbar, and that's your hand tool, or sometimes we call it the handy tool. And this tool is going to allow you to pan or move around. Okay, so even if I wanted to write and do a whole bunch of other stuff other than what I see here, I can just move. And sometimes if you're looking at ViewSonic resources, they're going to refer to this as the infinite canvas, not to be confused with infinite campus. They're saying it's the infinite canvas that you can just go on and on and on. So you have the option of adding pages like Lynn showed you, or you can just keep moving and moving and using the canvas as much as you like. The hand tool also allows us to zoom in and zoom out. So while I am at the teacher workstation right now, I'm just using the scroll wheel on the mouse to zoom in and zoom out. If you're up at the panel, you can pinch. You can just use a little pinching motion to zoom in and zoom out. That's something you can practice in a little bit. Just think about how you zoom in and zoom out on your phones and on your iPads if you have one. It's going to be just like that when you're up at your panel. I'm going to navigate to the next page, and we're going to take a look at a different assignment. I want you to see how the ink interacts with this PDF. I am using my hand tool to zoom in, and then I'm going to locate that pen tool that Lynn showed you. I'm actually going to press it 2 times. Remember, if you press more than once, you're going to get some more options, or it'll eventually bring you around to your original setting. I'm going to make that ink just a little bit thinner, and I'm going to go ahead and write. I'm using my mouse, so bear with me. I'm going to write on my crossword puzzle. What I like about this is if I go back to another page, if I move back and forth, y'all can see that it stayed where it was supposed to on that crossword puzzle. And if I grab my hand and I'm moving around and I'm panning around on the canvas, that stays in place. All right, so that's how the ink works with it. Let me show you another thing. I know sometimes y'all want to type, so we're going to take a look at the text tool. I'm going to go to these questions here and zoom in so hopefully you can see it a little bit better. On our toolbar, we've got that undo and redo on the far right hand side. Then we've got that T, that's our text tool. When I click on the T, my cursor turns into a T. And I can try to click and type where I want it to go, but lots of times it's going to be a little bit off. Just know that you can grab and move the text wherever you want to move it. So I'll try to click, but you can see, look, I'm a little off. It's not even on the line, but I'll type my answer. I'll try to spell it correctly there. All right, and then I can move it. All right, so I can pick it up. I can move this wherever I'd like. And just like y'all see in all of your other programs, you've got formatting options. We can change the size. We can bold it. We can change the color. So lots of cool things you can do. Something I especially like within this program is this option over here to the far right. Hopefully you see this T with the little bubble and the dots inside of it. What that does is it reads the text aloud. And I'm going to try it now. I hope that it'll come through for you on the stream.
Egypt.
I'm going to try one more time.
Egypt.
And if I had a sentence, it would read my sentence. If for some reason you didn't hear that, y'all be sure when you get your little 5 minutes of hands-on time, see if it'll read the text for you at some point. Another thing that's super awesome about this program is that immersive reader is built in. That's this little book icon with a sound symbol on top of it. Some of you have already been using immersive reader in things like Microsoft Word. There's a number of programs that have this built in. If you're dealing with like ELA, perhaps you have a special education class, this comes in really handy. It'll break down like your verbs, your adjectives. So if you have never checked out the immersive reader aspect, do that. We don't have time for it today, but I just wanted to point that out. All right, so that is one way to use the text tool. But if you remember, I said if you keep clicking on that button, you're going to get more options. So I'm going to come back here and click on my text tool again, and I get this little handwriting symbol. So what this means is that I can choose my pen color and then come back over here and say, hey, I'm going to handwrite something, but I want you to convert it to typewritten text, okay? So I'm going to try to write rather. I'm going to write my answer, and I'm hoping that it'll convert it. Sometimes it'll work, sometimes it's not 100% accurate. My handwriting, again, I'm writing with a mouse here. So I've selected the handwriting tool on the bottom, but I want you to see on my floating toolbar all the way to the far right, I have an extra button now. And it says click here to convert your handwriting to text. I'm going to click. All right. So I got Aria instead of Asia this time, but that's okay. All right. It doesn't work 100% of the time. It just depends on how the handwriting's going. But I'm going to select that text, and I'm going to pull it over, and I'm going to put it in the right spot. And I want you to notice that this text is actually an object within my software. So I can resize it, and I can rotate it. And then I also get this adorning menu that pops up that gives me a bunch of other choices. And we're going to take a look at that a little bit more closely in just a second. I do want to point out that sometimes we don't have time to have the students come up and write each and every time. So if that's the case, just keep in mind that you could already have these pre-written and typed out, and they could just have like a drag and drop activity. All right, guys, that's your text tool. I'm going to move to the next page. I'm going to click on my mouse because it's still trying to be my text there. All right. And if you ever have any trouble doing what you want to do within the program, or it's not letting you select or move where you want to move, try this little select tool, the little blue mouse. All right. And that's going to let me navigate to my next page. And let's look at that shape tool. It's just to the left of the text tool. And I want to say this, even if you think you'll never use shapes, like maybe you do, I don't know, you're teaching some super advanced something in high school, you're never going to use shapes, I don't know. Just please hang with me, because the features I'm going to show you with the shapes apply to text, and they also apply to images, which Mike is going to share with you in just a little bit. All right, so I'm going to click on that shape tool. I get 3 options. I'm going to choose the triangle. I'm going to draw a triangle. And then I want to point out on this little adorning menu, I'm not going to go through all these tools today, but I do want to point out that I have an option in the last column that will show the measurements. So I'm hoping some of you math teachers like that. And of course, I can still resize, rotate, all that good stuff that I showed you with the text. Notice that now I have a triangle on my toolbar because it's the last thing that I did. I'm going to click again, and then I'm going to click another time to take me one step further into all the shape options. Take note that you can do cubes, lines, you can add tables, hexagons, pentagons, all that fun stuff. We are going to stick with the square for the moment. I'm going to put a square on here, And let's take a look at just a few of these options. Y'all have that paint bucket. You know that means we can shade our object. We can change line thickness. We can change transparency. We can delete it, lock it in place. But what I want to show you now is that we can copy it. So I've got this selected. I know it's selected because I have the orange dotted lines all the way around it. I've got this 2 pieces of paper with the yellow paper on top. I'm going to click on that to copy. But like Lynn was sharing with you earlier, you cannot right click and paste within here. So you've got 2 options. You can press Control and V on your keyboard, or you can go to your floating toolbar and you can click on the clipboard, which is what I chose to do right there. Taking a look at another option, very similar. You got your copy. Move over here back to the first column, and we've got the infinite cloner. So the infinite cloner is going to allow me to make multiple copies of this over and over and over again. So if you're counting, or maybe you're doing something with change, the infinite cloner may come in handy for you. Speaking of handy, I'm moving to my handy tool, and I'm just going to kind of make a little bit more space here to show you just a few more things. I'm going to go back to my shape tool. I'm going to draw a circle this time. And I want to point out that with the circle, and with the shapes you can segment, but with the circle we can take it just another step further, and we can actually take the shape apart. All right, so I want to demonstrate that to you. Just know that sometimes, depending on what you have selected, whether it's text or a shape or an image, you might see different options here. Some will be the same, some will be different, some will have a little bit of extra. So the circle is going to allow me to segment. I'm in the bottom row here, and I'm going to segment this into 6 different pieces. I'm going to select my selection tool, or this little blue cursor, the little blue mouse, and now it's going to let me move this apart. All right, in addition to that, I can take my shape, I'm going to select it, there we go. I know it's selected because I've got the orange dotted lines, and I want to show you that you can hyperlink. I'm looking at the second column, second row. I can hyperlink, but what's cool is I can hyperlink it to so much stuff. I can hyperlink it to a document, I can hyperlink it to a website, I can leave a text comment, I can link it to videos, I can link it to my previous crossword puzzle page, or I can link it to some specific tools. I'm going to click on the Tools button for today, and I'm going to choose the compass. So I'm linking this compass tool to this particular shape. You can also link to text, like I just did on the other page. You can also link to images, which Mike will show you how to bring in images in just a little bit. So I'm going to choose hyperlink. I've got an extra button here now. When I click on that, brings up my compass tool. So now I can take my compass and draw a perfect circle. All right, guys, just like one more, maybe 2 more things. All right. I'm going to go to my floating toolbar, and the little, I think Lynn was referring to this as the old-timey chalkboard guy. I'm going to click on that, take it into the present mode. I'm going to kind of get some of this stuff out of the way. When I select the pie piece right now, notice that I have fewer options. So again, when you're in that present mode, you may have fewer options, and that's okay. Just be aware that if you're missing something, you want to go back to that prepare mode. I want to point out the spin option allows you to add a little bit of interactivity, so that's something you might consider. And then last but not least, as I go back into my prepare mode, if it'll let me try one more time. There we go. I want to point out that when I click on the folder to go to the save as, Lynn showed you that you could save to Google Drive. I can save to OneDrive because I've taken the time to bind that. So I just want to point that out as well. All right, I know that was a lot of information. It was kind of fast, but I want to give y'all a few minutes to, we'll say 5 minutes, to explore on your own. So either if you want to go stand up at your panel, or if you're just doing it at your teacher workstation, and hopefully we'll get it to load. There we go. If you've got a PDF, try to drag and drop it and put it in there. If you don't, that's fine. Just play around with the shapes, play around with the adorning menu, try to hyperlink something if you can. We'll be back in 5 minutes.
All right, everybody, this is Mike. I am going to take you on this little journey using PowerPoint with Whiteboard and also YouTube and images and a couple other things with this fabulous software that we have. So let me just get on out of this program here, this little display. I'm going to minimize here. And I'm going to sign back into Whiteboard here. Just going to use my companion app here. Scan it real quick. There we go. Got this nice lavender background for me, and you can see I've got my Google Drive connected. So I'm going to show you how to bring in a PowerPoint and kind of explain why you want to bring your PowerPoints in. If you convert a PowerPoint into Whiteboard, first of all, it's very easy to do. It's just like the Word in the PDF. You drag and drop it, you copy and paste it. I'm going to show you yet another way to pull something out of your cloud drive, but it's very easy to convert these. And when you do convert them, you've got all these tools that you can use on those PowerPoint slides. These wonderful things you've been shown during this training. So also another reason you might want to do it is if you try to use a PowerPoint and you're trying to use the touch screen and some of the other things, it can get a little wonky every now and then trying to use an outside presentation software with this panel that has its own. So sometimes the pins don't line up correctly, or you have to turn on the Microsoft Ink and so on. So we're going to show you how to get around that and actually use this software. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use something called the Magic Box. It's right here. I'm going to go underneath here. There it is. It's a little box with the little blue bubbles. Going to click on that and open it up. Whoops. And there you have the Magic Box full of little surprises in here. So I'm going to go and click on my Google Drive. This initially, when you open it up, it's kind of like an import feature here. So I'm going to click on my Google Drive here. Then I'm going to click on my folder that says My Drive. And it opens up all the files that are living in my Google Drive. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to choose this PowerPoint here. And the way I'm going to insert it this time is I'm going to double click. But again, you could copy paste, drag and drop. Those features still work if those files are on your desktop or somewhere on your computer. So let's double click. Processing up here. Before it goes in, you'll be presented with this question here. And it's a yes or no question. I'm going to show you the difference between the two. And it says import PowerPoint slides as objects, which by default is yes, or no, and it'll set it as a background. So I'm going to click yes on this one to show you what it looks like as an object. So I click yes. And there you go. It takes in my entire PowerPoint, inserts these as pictures or objects on a different page for every slide. So I'm going to click here, and you can see all the different objects that were brought in. If you have a huge PowerPoint, it could take a good couple of seconds for it to come in. So let me close this out real quick, like. Show you what it means to be an object. So I can click here. I get the orange border around it. It is locked, which means if I write on it, it's not going to move. Everything's going to stay right there. I can click the eraser, erase over everything, and so on. Let me click this eraser again, get my little beep. Take my ink off of there. Now, if I want to move this and resize it, I can do that. I can click on my selection tool, click here, click on the lock. Now it's free to move. So maybe I take this PowerPoint slide and move it over. Maybe shrink it a little bit. I'm going to actually lock this again because if I go to write or something, I might accidentally resize it or something. So let me click, lock, and now it's locked back in place. I have all this room over here now to do any kind of notes or anything like that. I've also got room on the bottom to write, put any kind of shapes or anything like that in there. Now I would have to go from slide to slide to do this. So I go here, I can unlock, resize, move, go to my next one, unlock, resize, move, and so on. But I'm going to show you how to bring this in as a background. But first I'm going to go and delete some of these. So I'm going to click here. Going to put it in this little matrix format. It's a little easier for me to look at. So click, click, whoops. And I'm going to click trash. Yes, I want all those gone. So I am back just to this one here. This time I'm going to go to my magic box. Magic box, click here. And I'm going to click on my Google Drive. Here's my PowerPoint, so I'm going to double click again. Processing up here, I can see it moving. There's my question. So import PowerPoint slides as objects. No, we'll set it as the background. I'm going to choose no this time so you can see the difference. Click no. That's what it'll look like now. It takes up the entire slide, the entire page, and it's on the background. So if you choose text, it's not going to bother it. I can choose a pen, not going to bother it. Now I could choose my hand and move it around the campus. I can also zoom in. I can zoom out, and the ink is going to stay with it. So entirely up to you, but again, this is part of the background, so I can't left click and move it. Even if I'm on the selection tool, I can't move that thing around, okay? It's just part of that page, so I have to zoom in or zoom out. All right, but again, if I go from slide to slide, you'll see that it was put in as a background. And you have to do all one way or all the other. You can't say, all right, put slides 1 through 4 as an object, 5 through 8 as a background. You just got to choose yes or no on that question, and that's how it brings it in. So very easy to bring in the PowerPoints. I will say if you have any hyperlinks in your PowerPoints, those won't work anymore once you convert it over. If you have any embedded videos, those won't work either, but I can show you quickly how to fix those because we're going to move into our next little section, which is called YouTube. So I'm going to show you how to put in YouTube videos. So let's add a page just so we'll have a clean, fresh page to start from. Click on the little plus sign here for the page. Got a blank page here. And I'm going to go to the magic box here. I'm going to click here. When I click on that, I get a set of tools going across the top. So I'm going to click on the YouTube. Click here. I will tell you before doing this, make sure you're logged into YouTube on your school computer. Okay, sometimes if you're not logged in, you get that filter issue, all that other good stuff. So let's say I want to use a YouTube video. Perhaps I'm a PE teacher, I'm teaching rhythmic and dance, and I want to emphasize something that shows a coordination of the body moving with music tones in a rhythmic fashion. Whenever I think of that, y'all are probably just like me, I think of white people line dancing. So what I'm going to do is pull up the Hustle, and here we go. We got line dancing for all you folks out there. So I can preview this and click play, make sure it's appropriate. This goes through some dance moves, shows you how to move and do the dance. So this is perfect. What I want to use, I can click here, and then what I'm going to do is click back. And if I want to use this, I can double click, and I can have it right there. So now I've got this video, and it's going to play right on my screen. It strips out any commercials, anything like that. It's going to play through. It's going to be perfect. And the best thing about it is you can take pictures here. So again, if I'm doing this dance tutorial, showing the steps, I can stop it, pause it, take pictures as I go through. So here's your little Oculus here. Boom, take that picture. Drag it on over to the side. And there you go. This is a nice picture now that I can click on. I can label, spin, crop, what have you. So there's your YouTube and how to bring it in. So we got this. And next, I'm going to show you a couple of things here. So I'm going to go to another page. Let's put in another YouTube video, show you how to do that again. So I click here. I click YouTube. This time, let's look for something like Jupiter. So we got Jupiter. I'm going to double click here, put that in and drag it. I'm going to click play. As it's playing, and I'm going to grab a picture of this just to show you again.
Jupiter was the solar system's first planet.
There's my picture.
And much like its namesake,
It puts it behind your YouTube here. So there we have that. I'm going to pause this, and I'm showing you this because I'm playing the video. If at any time I go back and then forward, it's going to restart my video. So let's go back. Let's go forward. I was 17 seconds into this video and notice that it rewound it for me. So if you're playing a video and you stop and you want to go back and forth during the video, realize that it will rewind it and put it back at that original spot. So make sure that you're kind of fast forwarding, make sure you realize where you're at. So if you move and come back, you can slide along that playhead and put that in there. All right, so enough on YouTube. Let's click. We're going to click on the magic box. We're going to click on images this time because you can do an image search right inside here. So let's click on image search. Let's click on Jupiter. And here's a picture of Jupiter here. I can double click, I can drag and drop. So I'm going to double click, pops it right in there. And again, it is an object. I can click, got all my adorning tools here. So easy way using that magic box. Again, we've got here, we can import in files straight from this location or the cloud. We've got all our tools going across the top, including YouTube and an image search. One of the last things I want to show you is this Windows toggle tool. So I'm going to click on the little Windows icon here. We've covered just about everything on this toolbar. Let's click on Windows. When I click on Windows, I'm over here on the Windows screen. If I had a web page open, a Word document, what have you, I could use my pens on that, draw all over it. I could erase it. I could do anything I want it to on this. When I want to go back to the Whiteboard software, click on Whiteboard, and I'm back on this screen. Now, if I go back, I'm going to click on Windows Toggle. I'm back and all my annotations are gone. So let me click on my pen. Let's say that I make some annotations over here, and I'm writing some notes, and I want to keep these. You do have a screenshot tool here, a little built-in snipping tool. It's also a screen recorder. So I can click here. That'll capture the whole page. That'll do a freehand move to capture, and this is rectangular. So I did rectangular, left click and hold. And there you go. It will take it and put it back on my Whiteboard page. So I click here, I can resize it, use all those wonderful tools. So if you had a PDF document open on your desktop and you just want to use a portion of it, not bring the entire thing in, this would be a great way to do that. Also, you have the screenshot tool down here, so I can click on that, even inside of Whiteboard, and I can do the same screenshots. The movie camera is recording, so it will record you drawing and talking with your audio, and then this one is just audio, so you can give those a shot. Now, one last thing I'm going to take a look at, or that I'm going to share with you. We've been doing all these files, and what I'm going to do next is click on the folder. I've got all these things going across here. One thing we didn't talk about, QR code. So let's click on this QR code, show you what it'll do. It'll say, do you want to share this? Yes, we do. Let it process, let it run through. It's going to convert everything into a PDF. And if you scan this QR code now, you'll have access to a PDF version of my presentation. You've also got the text down here that you could type into your Google Classroom, share it with them that way. This is not selectable text yet. We're working on that to get that over there. And it does save a copy in your Google Drive. So if I were to go to my Google Drive, just slide this over here real quick, you'll see a ViewBoard folder it creates automatically. And inside that ViewBoard folder is a folder called QR Scans. So the PDF lives in there. It's taken a while for this one to come up. But it does throw something into your default drive, be it your OneDrive or your Google Drive. So let me slide this on over, get it out of the way. Here's our QR code. So you've got all these little wonderful things, YouTube, putting in images, the Windows toggle, and then sharing with the QR code. And I'll give you about 5 minutes to play with these. Megan will be right back to close everything out. All right.
Hey y'all, it's Megan. I love that QR code sharing option. That's probably one of my favorite features of this software. But we're going to talk about a couple more things, and then where can you find the resources to help y'all after this training. So I'm going to show you a couple of interactive tools. I think y'all are really going to like them. Lynn kind of already alluded to this earlier. Down in the left-hand corner, there's something called Participate Mode. Now, keep in mind, when you actually have IFP in your classroom, there are 10 points of touch. And so you can have multiple kids up at the board working. However, things can get a little crazy. So they came out with Participate Mode. I'm going to click on Participate Mode. And it's actually going to give you the option to split your board into up to 6 sections. All right, so this is what it would look like if you had 6 kids. I'm going to stick with 3. And you can have up to 6 kids. They can come up here and choose their color pen. And then what's cool about this option is that it gives them boundaries and a little section on the board to keep their problem or whatever they're working on in that particular section. So I could see this being used in multiple ways. I'm sure y'all could probably drop in the chat how you would use this feature. Now, they can erase individually, or they can completely trash their work. And you as the teacher have the option to sweep all the boards at one time by clicking on the little broom icon in the lower left-hand corner. So I'm going to clear all my boards. And then in the right-hand corner, how do we get out of Participate Mode? There's a little X. You'll click on that and you're back into the whiteboard software without the Participate Mode on. All right? So that's one option to get your kids interacting with your content. The second option is, and these are the questions we've gotten throughout the time that we've had this software, in the magic box, Kristen kind of talked to you about how to link a tool. So y'all have seen this little icon a little bit. I'm going to click on that from the magic box, and a couple questions that we get. Does this software have a built-in timer? Yes. That's going to be your second clock. I'm going to drag and drop it over here into my Canvas area. And I naturally want to double click in these just to change the time, but you actually have to click on the clock. So I'm going to increase the time, and then I'm going to hit the clock again to get my little play button. All right, so this is embedded, so if you were to save this file, it would actually stay here just like it is. All right, I'm going to go back to the magic box and click on the tools section. There's lots of fun tools, y'all. There's some math tools in here, but something that I think a lot of people would love are the dice. So I can actually drag and drop or double click, and I'm actually going to get another one. You can pull in as many of these as you need. And so I have the option to come up here and roll some dice. All right. Now I can actually have more than one by clicking the little plus, and you can click on that and see how that kind of plays out for you. There's lots more you can do with the dice, but that's all we have time to really show you, is just kind of where it is and how your kids can interact with it. All right. Now, I'm also going to show you in the little file folder section. I'm going to click on that, and I'm actually going to come up here to open. It's going to ask me if I want to save my session, and I don't want to save it. But I do want to show you, y'all, I don't know if you remember, but Smart Exchange used to have a lot of pre-made lessons. ViewSonic is working their way towards that, and they do have a few in here. So again, you'll go to your file folder and go to open, and it's this little icon where it says myViewBoard original content. I think Lynn showed you some of the backgrounds earlier. So I'm going to click on that, and it's actually going to give you an area where you can change the subject. I'm just going to stick with art and humanities. I think we have an art teacher on here right now. And I'm going to double click on this make a color wheel lesson. It's going to say this file has downloaded to your desktop. You're just going to click OK, and it's going to bring that software that lesson right on into your whiteboard software. And so you can use the little arrows to see the lesson, but it's really, some of those lessons are really kind of cool. I'm just going to kind of show you how they have some pre-made things in here. I really like this option, so especially when y'all are just getting started with this software, you may not use anything else today, but you can check out those original content lessons that are already done for you. So where can you find all of the stuff that we've talked about today? Well, we have a couple of options. First and foremost, y'all don't forget you can email us at any time. Our email is cis@hcbe.net. This is not a one and done training. This is a, hey, let's expose y'all to some of the cool things you've got coming down the pipeline. And then we can always come out and work with you individually or as a team. Y'all just email us and we'll set something up. All right. Now, this was recorded, so I am going to pull over the CIS site, which you can find in your single sign-on. And so on here, we've got a video center, the sample lessons I was just showing you. There's a couple ways to access those. There's lots of recorded things that we've done and resources that we've shown y'all. Normally, we post our recordings on the recordings page, and y'all actually have already seen the myViewBoard page where you came to get the live stream link. So this is all there for y'all. Don't forget to come here if you want to find something. I am going to show you my favorite. This is probably my favorite resource. It's called the Wiki by myViewBoard. And in here, it kind of shows you all the things that it has to offer. But let's say you wanted to check out more information on participate mode. I would type that in the search engine, and it's going to pull up all the information about that particular search term. So most of these have little 1 to 2 minute clips that you can click on and watch. Some of it has, just written directions. Y'all check this out. That's that's probably going to be your best bet because they are more up to date than we can. I can't remember if we've told them, but every month there's new updates to the software, so they're always trying to change it and make it better. So if there's something that you find is missing with the software, y'all shoot it our way. This company has worked with us, like the dice that I just showed you, that's one of our ideas that we said, hey, this software needs this, and they put it in there for us. So just wanted to put that little plug in there. Now, y'all, you can go explore some of this. I know y'all are exhausted. It is Friday afternoon, and y'all are getting ready to start your first week of school. So we're going to let y'all loose. Y'all have a great first week. And y'all let us know in the chat before you go. Let us know your favorite thing that you saw today. Kind of gives us an idea of what we can share with other teachers. And y'all just let us know. Y'all have a great start to your school year. Talk to you soon. Bye.